Right now, I would like to introduce our first Women of Wisdom speaker. And this is our psychic speaker. Her name is Carolina Lipinski. Carolina is an established intuitive reader with 30 years of experience. She has appeared in various types of media, including film, television, radio, print columns, as well as hosting spiritual presentation events, workshops, and meditations. Carolina writes her own channeled meditations and has produced CDs for well-being and spiritual awakening. She has many repeat clients who she has assisted with her psychic abilities and angelic guidance. Carolina is a Shambhala healing master and also teaches tarot and other divination classes to raise the vibration of those seeking more than third dimension reality. Please welcome Carolina.
Thank you. Nice to be here on such a beautiful night. And I want to thank Kathy and the Spiritual Niagara team for putting on these nice events and to bring me awareness. And I welcome you all. I'm going to be talking about what's it like to be psychic and things to get involved with or find out about. But being psychic kind of opens up another world. Can you hear me? Okay. And I have had sensitivities for quite a long time. I think the first time when I was about 4 years old, I never liked the dark. And I can remember a lady in white used to come into my room and tell me stories that made me laugh. And then I fell asleep. And she stayed for a while, but as I got older, she kind of disappeared and I got used to the dark. And, so that was my first experience. I lived in Toronto, grew up in Toronto, and I lived right by the Royal Ontario Museum. I was kind of a different kid. I liked to hang out at the museum. Instead of playing baseball, I would go up to the Indigenous room, or that was the basement actually, and up to the Egyptian center in the Romans. It just intrigued me as a child, and it still does. My mother and my grandmother both read tea leaves. And back in that day, there wasn't the books and the availability of classes like there is now. It was more or less parlor and friends. But I can remember as a little girl and growing up, I used to like to watch them. And I think that kind of got me going. Everything was in me to begin with. I think when I was about maybe approaching 20, I went to see a reader. And he sat there and he said, you know what, you should be doing this. So that intrigued me because I was interested. I'm a history buff, so I was interested in the history of the tarot. And I read quite a bit about the tarot and where it originated from thousands of years ago. And then I started studying, and then it just kind of grew from there. There are so many different dimensions that you can go into, but I think you have to be comfortable with who you are and realize where you are and what you're dealing with. I'm usually quite grounded, but doing this kind of work, you want to make sure you're always grounded. Through the years of study, I developed a lot of different modalities, and through that, it enhanced different energies. For instance, clairvoyance, which is clear seeing. A lot of times when I'm doing readings or sometimes just sitting there in meditation, I'll see just forms or a picture of something. So even though I may be reading the cards or in a meditation giving a message, they come to me like that, just out of the blue. It's like a screen and it just keeps moving. But through constant study, it's developed more because you become more in tune with that side of yourself. Also, what was enhanced was clairsentience, which is more or less clear feeling, being sensitive to picking up on people, objects, places. I just returned from Ireland a week ago, and I went to the Titanic Museum, And here's an example of it. I was in one of the rooms where they had collected a lot of the artifacts from the ship that went down. And it was a beautiful museum. But when I saw that and heard some of the voices from the radio, just the rush. I'm sure you've all felt this sometimes in different points in your life. This rush right from my head to my toes, this vibration. It was just nonstop vibrating. And then I almost felt like breaking into tears. But there is a way to keep that in check, and I'll get to that later. That's part of clairsentience, when you can sense things, maybe antiques, always cleanse those when you get them. It does get stronger. Clairaudience also became enhanced, and that's clear psychic hearing, either from above, angels, could be ancestors, or just messages that come through from who knows where. But it's not an overnight thing. It's something that takes time. It's something you can't rush. It's something that deserves the dedication and understanding. This energy kind of opens up a vortex in the intuitive part of the mind. And I think we were all born with that, but it's something that you can, just like an exercise, you can train it to work for you. It could be as simple as going into a restaurant and feeling the vibe and stuff. I don't feel like this. And sometimes we dismiss it. I've even done that myself, and I said I should have listened to that little voice. And yes, when I said about the third dimensional reality, which we are in right now, what we see, this is third dimension. But then you can go into fourth dimension. I like being there because you get out of now. You can be, it's not something you can force. It's something that comes naturally, usually in a meditative state or when you're in a quiet spot. It can come in its visions. And you can go on the fifth and sixth, but I won't even go into that right now. But like the Vikings said many years ago in their ruins, be in this world, but not of it. And I think that's what's important, to be grounded. We all work, and most of us have things that we do. So we live in this world, but you can also be in the other world, but you can have one foot in, one foot out, but you can't totally be in both of them at the same time, all the time. So something to remember. Also, I'm going to touch on taking the mystery out of mysticism. Now, that's been around since the beginning of time. Prophets, mystics, dreamers. Speaking of dreamers, let's go back to the Bible, the Christian Bible, of Joseph and his coat of many colors. You can look that up. I won't go into the whole Bible story, but he had prophetic dreams. And he saved Egypt from a lot of disasters. So there are good things that can come from using your intuition. Some people are geared more that way, but it can be learned as well. Unfortunately, back in the day, there was a lot of religious zealots that crucified a lot of innocent psychics and healers because they were different. Maybe they didn't look right, or they sounded different. It could be part of fear. It could be part of the ignorance, as well as greed and control, to control the masses. So unfortunately that happened, but they paved the way for us today to openly assist with different growth in the spiritual realm. Some people are builders, some people are musicians, everyone has their calling, and some people are more geared towards more of psychic abilities and taking that to different distances. I myself had a lot of prophetic dreams. I won't go into them right now because we have a time limit, but a lot of them came true to the letter, which was very interesting. And I think if you are getting into this, or if you've been feeling like I want to find out more about it, you may find that, I feel like I'm not fitting in with my regular group. And that may happen because you go into kind of a little bit different mindset. So I think what it's good to be around is when you are journeying like that, is being around like-minded people and believing in yourself. And I think that's important. The other thing is developing it. Mine came naturally because of my background, but I did a lot of homework. I went to a lot of things at a very young age because it drew me in. But I think it's important to know yourself what you really want. It's not just a thing that's hot right now. I mean, I live the life. I think ways to get in touch with that higher side of yourself is through meditation. And meditation can be as simple as sitting in your backyard, just relaxing. Communing with nature is also a beautiful thing to do. Take the time, take 5 minutes, and then make it grow longer. Exercise, not everybody's in exercise, but maybe just walking. Honor yourself. Don't be put down by people that just don't get it. I think if you're serious, you want to find things out for yourself and then open up to others. You really have nothing to fear. If you're doing it for the right reasons, then there's no reason for fear. And if you are carrying emotional baggage from whatever, it's a good idea to let it go before you delve deeper into the spiritual psychic world. Or if you are planning on doing readings, then you don't want to have that leftover baggage kind of coming up every so often. So it's good to kind of clear this up, and there's ways to do that. Another good thing is finding a mentor. This could be through classes or someone you feel comfortable with. And if it doesn't feel right, there's so many classes out there, but not everybody's a good fit, just like a pair of shoes. You may like a pair of shoes, just doesn't fit you. Then shop around. Look for an area that you feel comfortable in. As Albert Einstein said, imagination is more important than knowledge. And sometimes that works. Without imagination, where would we be? Sometimes you have to think outside the box. That's with the intuitive. You're not. It's more of the right brain than the left brain. But it is important to be grounded. You can't go around a fairy, although I like fairies, I have a fairy garden. But it does help you rise and get closer to the source. The source could be any of the beliefs that you have, but something that you can always believe in. It's important not to rush. It's not a race. It's something that takes time, so you can't be caught on this 1 month and another thing another month. You have to find out what really moves you. If you are a sincere intuitive, you will sense and feel that energy with the person that you are working with or doing a reading for. I'm grateful to a lot of the people I've met along the way and over many years of doing readings. I walk the walk. I don't just talk the talk and use the buzzwords that you hear a lot. It's real to me. I do carry the angels, ancestors. And I just want to touch on to protection. I believe in angels, and I always put a white light around myself. Whatever your belief is, you can make that choice yourself. Prayers, mantras, also very important. Spirit guides, talismans are very good, whether it's crystal or an amulet. I can tell you about that later because I know we're timing here. Vibrational clearing, healing techniques. It's important not to burn out. Don't try to do too much at once, and don't try to overdo it if you're doing readings or if you want to take on that thing. First you've got to walk, then you run, and then you do the marathon. And just another thing to watch out for, beware of people that, unsolicited advice. People that come out to you, oh, I feel this. Well, you know what, sometimes you have to watch that if people come up, and especially with scary things. I've had it happen to me, and she didn't know who she was talking to. But some of them are like gypsies. I don't mean to put down gypsies, but there's gypsies out there that will reel you in with this little come on, and then they'll want money for candles or prayers, and that's not right. They're not spiritual. So there's a difference. It's just in any profession, there's good and bad everywhere. So that's why I think if you can get referrals, that's a nice thing to do, especially if you're just starting out. If something doesn't feel right, listen to what you're feeling. I've helped many people over the years, and it's really nice to get feedback on things that have happened, and I do get a lot of people that I see But reader or anyone on that path, you're putting yourself out there in another dimension. You do have a responsibility and respect for the craft. It's not just a novel idea, that's more commercial. The journey is a long and winding road. So practice, like anything, patience. You're not going to just turn on, where's my spirit guide, what's his name, what's her name, whatever. It's important to just be at oneness with the self and really get to know the self and feel comfortable. I think that's the key too. I've enjoyed many forms of divination and opened up to different things from mediumship, healing techniques, continued study, and even motivated me to open my own holistic cafe and business over the last 20 years. Energy begets energy. It's just like running or anything else you do. The deeper you become spiritually, you will find more divine connections with your purpose and developing your own psychic awareness. So in closing, I say believe in your dreams. I think they're so important. We're in such a rushed society today. Sometimes we forget to dream. Sometimes people forget to talk. Have the desire, the dedication, and the determination to follow through with your quest with unwavering faith. And if you have any questions, we'll get to that later. Thank you.